Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Today we're going to be reviewing the Petra Tools HD2000 battery-powered garden sprayer. This is going to be this is going to be a stress test for this sprayer because we're going to be working on 3 horse pastures that we're reclaiming. We got rid of the horses, and if we don't spray, at least for a year or two, they're going to turn into solid weeds. And we don't need to spray the whole thing like with a big sprayer, so spot spraying will do. Okay, I had one of these last year and I had problems with the wand falling off. So we'll see if they improve that. Just the action of spraying would loosen up this right here, but I don't believe they had a wing nut on there. And with a wing nut, you wouldn't have to bring a tool with you and tighten that up all the time. When you're spraying, the action of spraying would loosen this up, and I got sprayed by the contents of the container, and I ended up just not using it anymore. All right, going through this stuff, I see that they have some thread seal, so I'm guessing that they must have got a bunch of complaints about this, because this was my main complaint. Other than that, everything worked just fine. So we'll get some thread seal on here, get that back on, and we'll get the battery charging, and well, let's go over these spray heads first. This is the trigger, and you can lock that on, hose, and the wand. I don't think there's anything else in here except for the instructions that are probably going to tell you to put this on there. All right, let's open this up. Okay, in the instructions, they're going to tell you what all these are for. This is going to give you a big, wide pattern, and you got various other ones. This is for doing a wide swath, which would actually, yeah, I like to do spot sprays, but there's areas where this one is going to come in handy. So for now, we're going to go either with this one, probably this one. This is going to do a wider pattern, and the way I spray it's probably going to be, oh, I don't know, maybe a 10-inch pattern. Yeah, I'm going to bring this one along as well. Okay, this is a clip for clipping this onto there. All right. Let's get that hose attached to that and get this charged up, and I'll take you and show you the areas that I'm going to be spraying. Going through the instructions here, and it says the importance of using Teflon plumber's tape. It says to use it on all connection points on the hose, handle, and nozzle. Any battery-powered sprayer operates under high pressure, blah, blah, blah. That should not be the case. If you have a washer or an O-ring, that does the sealing. The threads do not do the sealing. So you shouldn't have to do that, and I'm not going to do that, except for right here, which I believe is just metal on metal. I didn't look inside of there. But that's another thing. A lot of Chinese manufacturers do not use NPT threads on parts that should use NPT threads. National Pipe Thread has a taper on it, and that does a lot of the sealing. So you have to use a ton of Teflon tape, and I actually use Teflon tape and Teflon paste on some of the stuff, or just don't buy Chinese stuff that does not have NPT threads. So we'll see how that works. There is no reason that this should have it on there if it already has an O-ring. The O-ring will do the sealing. The threads do no sealing at all. So that's kind of weird. We'll have to ask them about that. Okay, I'm going to go through the rest of this stuff, but I do have it on the charger. It comes with a little bit of a charge. Yeah, got a little bit of a charge there. And they say that you should fill it with a gallon of soap water and let it run for 30 minutes to prime the pump before you use it. So we'll have to do that as well. I'm probably not going to be able to spray till tomorrow, but we'll go out and I'll show you where I'm going to spray, and we'll get that part done, and we'll come back to this and get this all hooked up, get it fitted, and do the stress test as soon as this is all charged up. Okay, it's already getting late in the day, so I'm going to get this primed and I'll spray a little bit. It's kind of windy out there. It's not too windy to spray, but it's too windy to film. I'm going to get this primed and spray a little bit, and then we'll come back tomorrow and I'll show you the areas that are going to be sprayed or have been sprayed, and we'll continue the stress test with this thing. You could see that looks kind of yellow, but that is a green light. All right, let's do, I think it's a gallon of water and an ounce of dishwashing liquid. All right, real quick, for those of you who don't do a lot of spraying, you put in 1/3 to half of the tank of water, and then add your ingredients to that, shake it, and then fill it the rest of the way. If you want to know what I'm spraying, you can ask in the comments. Well, I had this pretty tight and it leaked while I shook it. Now I'm going to have a wet back all day. So far, not so good. All right. Yeah, still leaks from the vent, but it didn't leak all around the cap that time. I tightened the heck out of it. Okay, let me get you caught up. I started spraying yesterday in the vineyard here. I took out the vineyard 2 years ago, and last year I did nothing, so we got a lot of weeds in the rows. So this more yellow stuff is either crabgrass or foxtail. So basically I had to spray the entire rows, not the entire thing, but I had to go up and down each of the rows and get the whole thing. So this is where I started. This took 4 tanks, and then it took 2 tanks up in this dry lot right here. We got rid of the horses, I think it was 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, and we're trying to turn this dry lot back to grass so it's easier to deal with. When this is all weedy, everything grows at a different speed, so you got to cut it all the time or it looks real shabby. And this has a whole bunch of foxtail as well, right where the fence used to be. Like I said, I sprayed this yesterday, and I sprayed 2 tanks in here. This is an ongoing thing. That was Weed Stop, Spectracide Weed Stop. Now I'm going to be spraying glyphosate around the container here and this entire round pen area. This area right here is going to be smoothed out. It's, maybe 8 inches higher than the rest of the ground in most places. We're going to push that over onto this real rocky area right here and possibly add some dirt and get this whole place nice. But as far as this goes, we don't want anything growing here, not even grass. So I'm going to be spraying 2,4-D plus glyphosate, and that'll knock anything down real quick. I've already done it once this year, and I'll probably have to do it another time or 2 before we can get the guy over here to smooth this out. So this is where this little sprayer will come in handy. A lot of areas on our land, I just need touch-up, so I don't need the continuous spray. This thing is pretty uncomfortable. It's hard plastic, and this back edge digs into your back. I've tried adjusting it every time I put it on, and you can't get rid of that. So it's uncomfortable and it leaks. But other than that, it sprays continuously, and I can get something like this done pretty quick. Otherwise, with the hand pump, I'll be pumping and spraying for quite some time to get this done. So for something like this, this will shine, but I don't know. This time I might just carry this and spray. It is very uncomfortable. Okay, I'm going to get to it. We've already sprayed 16 tanks, and I believe I have 4 more to spray. 2 tanks here, and then around the buildings up there. Once I get that done, I'll get back with you and give you my final thoughts on this. In case you're wondering, the reason I have 2,4-D and glyphosate is to knock this stuff down really fast. I don't want any of this spreading seed. See that one to seed already. And I want to stop any pigweed or any of the other really noxious weeds from going to seed. Once you get rid of the seed bank, you end up having a whole lot less to spray every year. If we weren't reclaiming these areas, I could get the spraying done in a couple hours. But as is, it's gonna take, well, it's been 2 days now. I've been spraying all day yesterday and all day so far today. I already hit some of this when I sprayed the Weed Stop. Once this is grass, get some nice thick grass and you'll have almost no weeds. Thick grass is the cure for weeds. Okay, positives and negatives of the Petra Tools HD2000 power sprayer. The positive is, or the positives are, that you could just pull the trigger and it's going to spray, so you can walk fairly fast. That comes in handy if you have stuff like this. If you have trails that it hasn't been done on before. Once you spray a trail or a pasture or whatever, you're only going to have to do spot spraying in the future. So you basically only need to do that once. And then when you go back, a pump sprayer is much easier for spot spraying. With a longer wand like that, you can get it right over a weed in just a little bit of a hit, and just a little spritz will come out. With these power sprayers, and this would be true with any of them, a little push of the trigger, no matter what you have it set on, it's going to spray at least twice as much product as a pump sprayer. So for spot spraying, I definitely would not recommend any power sprayer. Maybe there's one that works better. I would have to see it though. And another negative is, even if you can walk faster and spray at a higher volume, it runs out really quick with the 2 gallons. I generally use a 4-gallon sprayer for doing stuff like that, and this 4-gallon sprayer is more comfortable than this little 2-gallon sprayer. Problem was, this bottom edge right here is not covered by the pad, and it digs into your back, and no matter what you do with these straps, they keep slipping because this is a really slick material. This kept falling off, so I finally just put it in my pocket and just had to deal with it. The final thing, and I didn't have any problems with it, but I could see it happening, is that the materials are pretty cheap. I believe on the one I had last year, this trigger busted after, I don't know, it was probably like 3 weeks, but they may have improved that. We're not going to call that a negative for the purposes of this review, but I would say at the price that this costs, it's like $175, I definitely would not go out and get it. They may have a sprayer that fits better, possibly a pump sprayer or a smaller power sprayer, but I can't see any real use for this. I will use it until I'm done with that round pen spraying, and I have a couple trails that really need some spraying, but once you get past that, I can't see using this to do any spot spraying on them. So very limited use, but there's definitely a use for it. But again, like I said, it's very uncomfortable, and you really just want to get done spraying and get this thing off your back. It's probably the most uncomfortable sprayer that I've ever used. So all in all, I would say either get a bigger sprayer, something that's more comfortable, or get a handheld one so that it's not digging into your back like that. I don't know. This one just definitely is not for me. So I have a couple more tool reviews coming up and an update on the oak trees. And I finally got my part from Sweden for the Husqvarna trimmer. So we're going to go down and trim the brambles on the rock road. So if you want to see any of those videos, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them down in the comment section below. And if you share the video or give it a like, it helps the channel out greatly. Thanks for watching and have a great day.